Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. It started. The summary of the series High Five begins with an ambulance speeding to save the life of a young man to fly, but unfortunately when he arrives at the hospital, he is already dead. The doctors are puzzled as to why a young man like him would do this to himself, and they notice that all his organs are healthy and his body is strong. They also find out that he is alone and has no family to ask about, so they decide they must make use of him and donate his organs to other people who need them to live. Indeed, they do this, take 6, as this is the maximum a body can donate to anyone in the world. They finish the operation exhausted and amazed by his body, which was so tough that their knives broke during the procedure. Suddenly, the nurse comes out of the operating room screaming. They rush in to see what's and find the whole place in chaos. The man's body is evaporating under the sheet. A tattoo on his hand starts to disappear. They're shocked by what they see and think he's a ghost, so they run away without getting close to him. A week passes since that day, and we see a beautiful girl named Mansu in the hospital. We learn that she received the extraordinary young man. The doctor is surprised that she is well and feels no pain, because usually, transplant, the body starts to reject it, causing some pain and fatigue. He asks if she feels tired but Mansu tells him she feels fine and is even better than before, literally. So the doctor decides to discharge her since everything is fine. Our heroine is happy and leaves with her father to have lunch at a restaurant, but he is surprised that she eats more than before. He also notices a strange tattoo on her hand and asks, but she says it appeared after the surgery and might be a side effect. She thanks the doctor, so she doesn't pay any attention. She decides to return to boxing training since her dream is to become an Olympic, but her father refuses and warns her not to as her mother and grandmother died from heart disease. He is afraid for her and doesn't want the same to happen to her as well. So Mansu listens to him to avoid upsetting him and goes with him where he trains children in boxing. She watches him feeling frustrated. She loves boxing. He gives her money for a taxi and asks her to go home alone since he has work. He leaves to change his clothes and Mansu, feeling bored, sees a child training alone and takes advantage of her to train him. She tells him to watch and she jumps in the air and kicks a punching bag with her leg. The bag flies off, explodes from the force of her. Her father rushes in at the noise and Mansu is shocked by what happened. She blames the child. She leaves before he realizes she's lying. She doesn't understand what happened or something. Later, she sees some girls going home together from school, looks at them sadly because she is lonely and has no friends, and decides to go for a run to improve her mood. She is surprised to find herself running so fast that she overtakes a motorcycle, taking the long road in less than a second. Not only that, but she also jumps so high that she feels like super. She is amazed and can't believe what, running through the city streets, happy and laughing. Suddenly, she sees a big car in front of her and tries to stop herself but can't stop, crashing into it. Of course, nothing happens to her and the car almost flips over, but she uses her strength to set it back. The driver notices something strange happen, but when he looks around, he sees. At the same time, we see an old man who was in a coma for a year after surgery. His daughter is surprised because his condition was critical and she had hoped he would die so she could inherit his. But he shocks her by saying he heard everything she said while he was in a coma, like a young man in his 20s. His daughter, feeling frustrated, goes to the hospital to meet the doctor who performed the surgery to understand, and he tells her he transplanted the pancreas of the extraordinary young man into her father, so it's normal for his condition. No one knows that the donor was a super. The next day, Mansu drives her father to work. Before he leaves, he asks her not to run again for her health. She leaves him and goes for a run outside. She stands on a long street, but there is a mysterious person filming her with his. She senses, so he hides. But when he looks again, he finds her standing in front of him. She thinks he is approaching her and grabs his hand as if to, but then she sees the same tattoo on his hand and realizes he is like her. To him and asks him not to tell her father and asks about his superpower. He tells her he received the lungs of the extraordinary young man and since then can control the wind. He demonstrates by taking a deep breath and blowing down the street, creating a strong gust that almost blows everything away. Mansu is amazed by his power and believes him. The mysterious young man tells her that there are 4 more people with superpowers. The human body can donate 6 organs, and they are only 2, so 4 are left. He asks her to help him find them, so they can all form a team. Meanwhile, we see a handsome young man walking. We learn he received the eyes of the extraordinary young man, and since then, he controls energy, hack devices, and access any information he wants. Better than any hacker, all with just a snap. He decides to use his power to get rich, goes to gambling shops, wins every game, and ends up with a lot of money, shopping for all the clothes he wants. Later, Mansu and the mysterious young man decide to participate in the Olympics to meet one of the other superhumans there, since these games are for who receive transplant. Mansu easily wins the running race and place, impressing everyone with her speed. She sits with the mysterious young man to observe the other. Suddenly, a kind woman approaches and handing out free juices because she had a kidney transplant. The mysterious young man suspects she might be superhuman like them, looks at her hands but finds no tattoo, and decides to leave. Suddenly, the kind woman bends over, and they see a tattoo on her back. They are surprised and realize she is superhuman like that. They sit and talk to her, but she knows nothing about the matter. The mysterious young man tries to explain and demonstrates power, blowing and causing the glass and the kind woman is amazed by what she sees, and Mansu asks her if she noticed any changes after she came out of the operation, with the kind woman thinking and telling her that after the operation, her skin became better and everyone admired her. Mansu feels frustrated and realizes that definitely has a superpower, but hasn't discovered what it is yet. Suddenly, while they are sitting, the handsome young man enters. With a wave of his hand, he turns off the lights and turns on the music. Using his power, he surprises them all and starts telling them information that no one else knows about. Impress them. He then sits with them, introduces himself. The kind woman keeps for him and asks him to be their leader, but the mysterious young man feels jealous and refuses. He asks why he should be the leader, when he's even younger than him and acts he's important and needs to leave for work. But Mansu tells him. He proudly reveals that he is a writer, and writes novels and stories about superheroes. Keep mocking him be famous. The mysterious young man feels embarrassed by their words, uses his power to blow and make the dishes fly, and leaves them, thinking they'll bet to come back. But no one pays attention. Then we see the old man leaving, and we learn that he decided to form a group. He's special, and that God chose him and that he will change the world and become a superhero. This man bullies the old man and mocks, thinking he's crazy. He goes and sits in his chair, which angers the old man, so he insults and tells him he's useless. The businessman tries to hit him and fights him, thinking he's weak and can defeat him. The old man grabs him by the neck and marks. Suddenly, this man feels tired, as if his life is being drained from his hands, while the old man begins to get younger and feels he's regaining his youth. He discovers that his superpower is to absorb people's souls and take their life energy. To make sure, his hand on a tree, and indeed, it's life energy and it dies. And knows that now he's strong. His daughter is shocked by what she saw, goes to meet and asks him to tell her about the super young man who donated his organs, and that he donated 6 organs, and they were transplanted into 6, including her. The girl realizes that they all must have superpowers. Like, she asks her assistant for them, so she can organs, and use the superpowers to achieve her goals. At time, we see the workers in her factory, but suddenly one of them is seriously injured. His colleague runs to call an ambulance, but their manager appears, who has the same his hand on the injured worker, and suddenly his injury heals and he's back to normal. We learn that he received the super young man's liver, and his power is healing, but he gets tired, and to return to normal, he needs to drink water. He goes to drink, and we learn that every time he heals someone, he needs to drink or he'll die. The next day, we see Manzin, the mysterious one, playing with their superpowers, but suddenly she sneezes and flies away. They get scared, thinking she's dead, but she's not affected. Comes back to him, telling him not to use that heavy button with her, and he asks about her life, but she tells him that after what had finished her education, and since then she has had no friends and always feels lonely. That's why she wants to gather a team of superheroes. Like, the mysterious one is affected by her words, but tells her that not all of them are good, and that one of them, after gaining superpowers, turn out to be evil, and warns her that maybe the handsome young man is the villain, and asks her not to. She reassures him that she will protect them with her power, so she shakes his hand, but her strength almost Suddenly, the kind woman arrives and tells them, "Why am I the only one with a tattoo on my back, and I don't have a power like you?" Manzu reassures her that she'll definitely discover her power with time. Suddenly, she gets a message on her phone from the handsome young man telling her he's in danger and asking her to save him. We learn that a gang leader kidnapped him. Coming to his shop, every time he did, the money would disappear, and the handsome one is scared because he doesn't know how to fight. He uses his powers to send his address to Mansu's phone. Suddenly, the mysterious one and the handsome one is thinking he'll save him, but the mysterious one needs them urgently and runs off. After that, Mansu arrives and asks the gang to release the handsome young man and warns them that she's a martial arts, but the leader refuses and mocks. The mysterious one comes out of the bathroom, wants to leave, but Mansu stops and takes a straw from the kind woman and puts it in his nose so he can use his power and sneeze. The mysterious one sneezes and blows the gang away. Mansu takes advantage of the opportunity, grabs them, and they leave trying to escape, but the gang starts chasing them. Mansu is forced to use her power, puts them in a car, pushes them, and drives at top speed, racing through the city streets. They're scared, and the handsome one is forced to use his power, control the lights and clear the road of cars. Mansu keeps hitting speed bumps and flies them into the air. Suddenly, she gets a call from her father. Gets nervous and turns off the phone. The car slips from her hands, enters another street, and the team gets scared, calling her name. She's forced to use all her power, jumps high over buildings, runs through the tunnel at top speed, and manages to get them there before they crash into the wall. She does a crazy drift and saves them, but the gang sees them and chases after them. Now it's the mysterious one's turn. He grabs the juice bottle and uses it like bombs, blowing at them until he breaks the car and blocks their view. Take another route and manage to escape, but the road is blocked ahead of them. And of course, Mansu can't hit the brakes, so they crash into a restaurant. They sit and rest for a while. When the mysterious one is annoyed with the handsome one, as he uses his superpower wrong and steals money, but the handsome one discovers his secret and tells him, "You also steal novels and push them in your name," and mocks him for being a failure, saying that if he were, he would have ended himself. Suddenly, the kind woman gets angry when he mentions suicide and the mysterious one's angry too. He slaps him, and because of that, the handsome guy gets annoyed and uses his powers to control electricity. They almost get into it, but Mansu stops them and tries to calm them down because, after all, they are one team. But the sheath breaks her heart and says, "You're not my friend just because you sympathized with a couple of days, thought you were one of us." He pushes her and tries to hit the handsome guy, and she uses her power to blow a car at him, the kind one, who falls to the ground and breaks down. She tells them they're all silly and decides to leave them and walk away. The team splits up, each going their own way. Mansu is upset and stands alone crying. She goes home feeling frustrated because she's always wanted to have friends. She finds her father waiting for her, yelling at her because he was worried. He says he looked for her in all the hospitals and asks what she was doing with her friends until now. She breaks down crying and tells him she has no friends, blaming him for always keeping her locked at home and not letting her go out like other girls her age. He always put her bracelet on her wrist to measure her heart, keeps her tied up like a dog at home. She leaves him and walks away crying, and her words affect her father, who feels guilt for being overprotective. He goes after her the next day. We see the old man's daughter watching a video of Mansu and her friends escaping from the gang, and she discovers they have superpower. She decides to kidnap them and asks the doctor to get ready to experiment on them and try to steal their powers. After that, Mansu meets the mysterious guy and asks him to return to the team so they can look for the villain and stop, but he refuses. He says he decided to travel and never use his powers again so no one would discover him. He apologizes for what he said yesterday when he was angry, and says he doesn't steal stories, he used to write them with his friend, but his friend betrayed him and stole them. He says goodbye and leaves. After that, Mansu gathers with the rest of the team and tells them. Fortunately, the mysterious guy decided to leave the team. At the same time, a big explosion happens and all the workers run except for one who gets trapped in. The healer tries every way to reach him and save him, but explosion spreads everywhere, and Mansu and the rest of the team see it, quickly decide to go save whoever is there. She tries to send a message to the mysterious guy to come with them, but he doesn't reply, so they decide to go alone. Suddenly, another big explosion happens. Luckily, our heroes arrive just in time. Mansu manages to the door to the room with one hit, until she reaches the iron door and gets ready to, but the handsome guy arrives, takes over. He starts using his fingers to hack the system, opens the door for her. The healer is amazed by and realizes they have superpowers, just like the place fills with smoke, and no one can see anything. Suddenly, their mysterious friend arrives and decides to return. The team is happy to see him. He enters the room, but he comes out saying he couldn't see anything because it was dark. The handsome guy tells him, "Follow my instructions, and I'll guide you." But the mysterious guy leaves the worker, and the smoke scares everyone so much they follow her order. Mansu decides to cooperate, and she and the mysterious guy go in while the handsome guy guides them until they reach the worker and get him out just in time before he suffocates and dies. But he's unconscious, and his life is in danger. Here comes the healer's role. He decides to use his power, holds the worker's hand, and succeeds in healing him. Everyone is surprised to discover he's one of them too, but after that, he feels tired and falls to the ground. The handsome guy quickly goes to get him water, but he's late, and the kind woman gets worried. She holds the healer's hand, crying, and asks the mysterious guy to help him. Suddenly, tattoo glows, and she transfers energy from the mysterious guy to the healer, who wakes up and returns to normal. Everyone is surprised by what happened, and realizes this is her superpower. She's the link between them all. She's happy she finally discovered her power. They carry the worker out before another explosion happens, but they realize the handsome guy hasn't come out yet. We see him trying to get out, but when he sees the electricity, he remembers his childhood. We learn that as a child, he was electrocuted, which damaged his eye. When he grew up, he had surgery and gained his superpower, but now he's scared and loses control, crying. The heroes worry about him and decide to save him, but the mysterious guy risks his life, goes in, uses his power to blow the smoke, grabs the handsome guy, gets him out before he suffocates. The heroes succeed in escaping before another explosion. After that, they sit in a restaurant, and the healer treats them to thank him for what they. He introduces himself and tells them he had surgery like them, and since then he has had the power of. He says from now on, if any of them gets hurt, they shouldn't go to the hospital. Heal them for. The kind woman is amazed by his words and applauds him, happy that she finally discovered her super. She suggests they each choose a name that represents their power. Heroes in fantasy stories. For example, the handsome guy could be called Blue as he hacks devices. Menzu could be Rocket because she's fast. The kind woman could be Battery because she charges their energy. They joke about her idea, and each one tries out their power, laughing and having fun, getting closer like a family. Menzu goes home happy because she finally has friends. She finds her father fixing the car, can't remove the tire. She decides to use her power to help him without him noticing, and he thinks he did it himself. He tells her, "Don't worry, I'm still as strong as ever. To you anytime. You ever feel you're in danger, just call me, and I'll be there in a second to save you." The next day, the old superpowered man goes to his factory to meet the workers whose lives were in danger. He greets the healer and thanks him for saving them, but he notices the tattoo on his hand and realizes he's superpowered. Like he asks for his name and some information, then leaves, smiling, looking like he's planning something dangerous. Indeed, his daughter arrests him, takes him to the hospital, tying him up to experiment on him without even giving him anesthesia, and she seems crazy. Suddenly, the old man enters and approaches the healer, puts his hand on his neck to absorb his energy. Nothing happens. The old man is surprised and realizes this doesn't work of his own kind. So he goes and puts his hand on a nurse, and actually absorbs all her energy, killing her. Confirm his power works. He asks the doctor to transplant part of the healer's liver, certain that he will gain his power, and everyone gets. Doctor is forced to listen to her and perform the operation, but his daughter gets upset because her plan is ruined. She orders her assistant to capture the rest of the superheroes today so she can experiment on them at her leisure. And indeed, he carries out her order. He goes with the gang, and they capture the mysterious one, put a handkerchief over his face, and knock him out. Then it's our heroine Minsu's turn. She gets ready to kill them, but her father sees her and runs to her saying, "Are they trying to bully you?" He gets upset and tells her, "Don't worry." He puts on his box, stands in front of her, and warns them that they will regret it, and he'll break their bones and faces. He tries to hit them, but his shoe flies off. He stumbles and almost. The gang mocks him, but Minsu takes advantage of the opportunity, uses her powers, defeats two of them in less than a second, all without her father noticing. Quickly returns to her place. Her father is surprised at what happens. He is Superman, and that he did. Minsu encourages him to continue, and indeed he attacks, but she stands behind him, beating up the gang while he thinks he's the one doing it. Takes them out one by one, quickly returns to her place, and tells him, "Dad." She grabs a stick, threaten them, and they are scared of her. Her father is surprised by their reaction, and when he looks behind him, he finds his daughter just standing there. Then the gang attack him all at once. Her father tries to stop them, but Minsu stands behind him, pushes them, beating them up, sending them flying through the air, all while her father thinks he's the one doing it. Minsu lifts him and spins him in the air, hits them all, the ground, and no one can handle her. She uses her speed and quickly returns to her place. Her father is proud of himself, and says to her, "Did you see how your dad fought?" That time, we see her superhero friends kidnapped and imprisoned in a secret underground location. It turns out the psycho is behind it. She goes to force him to experiment on them, and tells him that her father won't help because he's old and out to die. He mocks her, saying, "You're the old one." He asks her to go in and see him. Indeed, his daughter goes in to check on him, but is shocked to find that he has become young, handsome, and strong. She is frightened to believe her eyes. The villain tests his new power, goes to the mirror in his hand, but the wound heals in. He is happy and realizes this is the healer's power. He decides to steal the rest of the superhero's organs to become the strongest person in the world. But then his daughter decides to get rid of him. She sends her assistant and his men to kidnap him, experiment on him. The villain is happy. This is a good opportunity to. He grabs one of them and throws him far away with a single punch, scaring the rest, and they try to escape, but he doesn't let. He lifts them and slams them to the ground. Meanwhile, the handsome one is imprisoned and tries to use his powers, but they have tied his finger. Gets an idea, takes off his shoe to use his toes, and succeeds in opening the door. He is happy, but the nurses they ask, "Open the door," but now they're going to deal with him. Or he leaves, opens the door for his other superhero friends and sends a message to Minsu to come and save them. Our heroine is surprised that they are in danger and decides to go save them. At that time, her father sees her and hugs her, thinks she is weak and being bullied, and cries because she is boxing to defend. He reassures her that he will protect her and won't let anyone come near her, and asks to tell him who the bullies are. Minsu realizes he is out of the loop and decides to, telling him the bullies kidnapped her. He gets angry and wants to help her, takes her and puts her in the car to go save them. Meanwhile, the doctor takes the handsome one to the Doeg room to transplant cornea to the villain. The handsome one keeps screaming and crying, begging them, but no one cares. The doctor succeeds, transplants one cornea, but unfortunately during the operation, he only manages to transfer one, and the other is still with the handsome one. The villain is happy and starts using it, discovering that he can now control energy and devices. The handsome one wakes up with bandages over his eyes in pain, but hears the healer's voice next to him, who tells him what happened and that he has become old and weak. The villain took everything from him. The healer holds his hand and decides to use his last bit. He is now young. He remembers the boy and decides to use his superpower to flying high, smashing the wall, thinking he will impress, but they are scared of him. He decides to use the other part, and the villain decides to use his. He goes to a paralyzed man and uses his power on him, healing him so he can stand on his feet again. Then he goes to another woman whose daughter is sick and absorbs her illness, curing her. Someone comes to him and says, "I'm burned. Show me how you can heal me." He goes to him and absorbs the burns from his body, but when he drinks water he returns to his normal state. Everyone cheers his name, truly convinced. By that moment, Minsu and her father arrive at. The villain senses their presence, welcomes them, pretends to be a fan of her father and that he just wanted to, but in reality, he wants to absorb his life. But Minsu sees the tattoo on his hand and realizes he is the. She gives him a powerful punch that his hand, but he goes and drinks regular water, uses the healer's power and his hand returns to normal. At Minsu, and says he will make her regret, demanding she give him her heart or else he will finish her. And her father realizes that this is the bully who and decides to puts on his boxing gloves and tries to kill him. But Minsu grabs his hand telling him, "Can't mess with this guy," and shows her strength. Suddenly the kind lady and the mysterious one arrive after escape, and they are happy to see Minsu and reassure her that they're okay and introduce themselves to her father as her. The villain gets that they are ignoring him as if he doesn't exist, and he uses the handsome one's power until he absorbed the energy. Our heroes are shocked, realizing that means he has now managed to take powers from two of their friends, the healer and the energy absorber, the handsome one. Minsu's thinking he is just a normal young man, but the villain throws him far away. Minsu quickly intervenes and takes the hit instead, but he passes out. Suddenly the villain appears behind her, throws her, and Minsu realizes that he is fast and strong like her. She decides to kill him with all her strength, and the two begin. They have unnatural strength. Their friends almost flew away. Minsu tries to, but the villain pins her against the wall, but Minsu doesn't give up. He pushes him away and hits him with a flying kick in the air, trapping him. The fight is affecting his whole body, but she is surprised when he uses the healer's power and regains his before. He grabs her leg and throws her far away. Then he jumps in the air and kicks, slamming her into the ground to finish her off. But the mysterious one grabs the kind one's hand to increase his power, blows at the villain and sends him flying away. By time, the kind one takes opportunity, grabs Minsu's hand and tries to transfer energy to her to increase her, and indeed she recovers. But the villain uses the handsome one's power, turns off the lights, and suddenly disappears behind them in a second. Minsu sends her flying, defeats the mysterious one with a finger and knocks him to the ground. He doesn't want just to absorb their energy. The kind woman, who is scared and he will finish her, but realizes she is the link who transfer their powers without surgery or transfer his power to, so they fear him and he backs off from. He decides from now on to use her, and asks her to help him and obey his commands or he will finish off her friends in front of her eye. Suddenly the handsome one arrives with the healer, uses the injured one's eye, and distracts the villain's attention. Minsu comes from behind, hits him with a strong flying punch, knocking him far onto his chest. The heroes decide to cooperate. The kind one grabs their hands and transfers energy to the healer to help them. Indeed, the healer heals the mysterious one, who stands in front of the villain, ready to kill him. Using his training with Minsu, he blows her towards the villain. She hits him with her head, breaking the wall. Her friends start helping, holding the kind one's hand, each using their power, breaking the ceiling, and making it fall on the villain's head. They rejoice, thinking they have finally defeated. The place can't handle it, and starts to collapse from all sides. Suddenly the villain emerges from the rocks, his hand on the water tank, drinks all the water, succeeds in healing his wounds, and comes back stronger than before. The bastard approaches, angry, his eyes full of rage. He grabs the mysterious one by the neck, hits him hard on the ground. Minsu tries to hit him from behind, but he senses her and gently giving her a strong blow to the stomach so hard that he bleeds from her mouth and collapses on the ground. Tattoo is about to disappear, meaning she is dying. The kind woman collapses, thinking she's dead, tries to save her life, but the villain transfers her power to him, or else he will finish them all. She is forced to obey him, holds his hand, feeling hopeless, but she has another plan. He transfers energy and heals Minsu with it. Indeed, Minsu recovers from her injuries and wakes up clearly stronger than before. She decides to make him regret him, and gives him a powerful kick now affecting him, sending him flying into the air. She uses her superpower, hitting him repeatedly so he can't heal himself, throws him into the electricity to weaken. The villain tries to, but she uses her speed to dodge his blows. She gives him a strong flying punch, but he doesn't give up, grabs two iron bars to hit her with, but she says take them from him as if they're. uses her boxing skills combined with her superpower, delivers fast with her hands and strong kick with her legs, breaking his facial bones and crippling him, turning him into Sharma. Her friends are happy she defeated him, but suddenly the place shakes. They realize the electricity is unstable and about to explode. The handsome one decides to gather his courage, overcomes his fear, grabs the kind girl's and the healer's hands to fix his eyes, and the injured one starts absorbing their energy. Then he overcomes his phobia, uses his power, stands in the middle of the electricity, and absorbs all the energy, causing the power to go out in the country. But then he uses it again, now having renewable. The first time, the mysterious one acknowledges him, shakes his hand, they make up. The heroes are happy they succeeded, form a circle, hold hands to heal their injuries. But suddenly the villain wakes up, grabs their hands, and tries to use his power to absorb their life energy. He almost succeeds, but Menso says, "Dad, help." Immediately he shows up, throws him far away, but he wakes up at the right moment, hugs his dog, apologizes for not being able to. Our heroine takes the opportunity, grabs her team's hands, and everyone regains their power and is here. Her father decides to go fight the villain, but is surprised that his appearance has changed, and he's back to being old as before. It turns out, all his power. The healer feels sorry for him, just to save his life, but is surprised that the villain isn't remorseful and wants to absorb his life energy. The healer gets angry and decides to let him die as punishment. The handsome one uses his power. With a wave of his hand, the old man sits on the chair, goes up to his followers, and everyone is shocked to see him weaken. They realize he was a fraud and had been tricking them, so everyone leaves him and walks away. After that, our heroes leave the place and go to rest after finally winning the battle and defeating the villain. Before celebrating, the kind woman asks to choose a name, thinking together until Menso suggests they call themselves High Five or the fifth superhero. Everyone likes the name and agrees to call themselves High Five. The first thing they do is go to the hospital and heal the rescue worker who was in a coma. His wife is surprised when she finds him awake and hugs. We learn that the healer did his power. The kind woman thanks him. The heroes decide to be friends forever, fight evil, and spread peace in the world. The series ends with a happy ending. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like the channel, activate the bell to receive all